Welcome to the May 29th, 2024 regular scheduled Board of Trustee meetings. If there's anybody in the room that wants to speak during public messages or comments, please sign in back at the back. Okay, so we always open our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. So tonight's moment of silence is basically for Memorial Day. We were unable to have our memorial service. The veterans were unable to have their memorial service due to the weather, which was probably a very good call. But on Memorial Day, as you all know, we honor the men and women who have lost their lives defending our freedoms and liberties. So let's still keep them in our hearts and minds. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you so very much. All right, we can get on with the meeting. Approval of the minutes, please, Mr. Luby.
So we have no approval of minutes tonight, so we'll probably do that next meeting. But we do have the approval for overtime. Motion to approve the payment of overtime for pay period ending April 14th, 2024.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion passes.
Motion to approve bills for payment.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. Report from the fiscal officer, Mr. Luby.
Significant transactions since our last meeting. We received $44,000 for our cable franchise fees. And as far as disbursements, we had a payment to Honhorst Company for $31,000. That was for the new HVAC at the senior center. We also spent $123,000 to Jake Sweeney for three new 2024 Dodge Durangos for the police department. And we had a payment of $114,000 to Gilkey Window for the new windows at the senior center. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. All right, trustee correspondence, trustee Seavey?
Yes. I would also like to thank the Veterans Association for their prudence in delaying, and when I say delaying, we're going to have a supersized Veterans Day ceremony in November because the weather was just too scary, too iffy to put everybody out there on the parking lot sitting in aluminum chairs. So I think I would like to compliment the veterans for their good sense in saying, hang in there, we will supersize Veterans Day in November, so let's all be there for them then. I'd also like to point out, once again, Radle's Funeral Home on Neeb Road has put out beautiful flowers. And when I see it, I always think, they get the idea of floral paradise, and every year they just get better and better. So thank you, Radle. And just a reminder to everyone, school's out. Kids are running around. Unfortunately, we had one little snafu today. So let's all remember to drive slowly through these school zones. These children still use the playgrounds, and the book bus is coming around too to the different schools all summer long, as well as the park. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Davis?
Not at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay. I just want to acknowledge that the trustees did receive at the beginning of this meeting a letter from Mr. Robert Jones regarding fireworks in Delhi, and we will take that into consideration, but we acknowledge its receipt. So thank you very much. All right. Oh, Mr. Jones, you're here. So when we get to the public, okay, very good. All right. So we have a public hearing right now.
So we have a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, hearing is open.
Good evening, trustees. As you recall, back on May 15th, your board declared 589 Rockwell Drive a nuisance for debris in the rear yard. That was resolution number 2024-73. On May 17th, Community Development posted the order on the door, given a 7-day compliance deadline. On May 20th, we received a letter in writing from Ms. Scanlon that she wanted to appeal the decision. So I believe Ms. Scanlon's here tonight to appeal the decision about the nuisance.
All right.
Okay.
And as you'll see on the screen, Administrator Miller, there's pictures that were taken on May I believe.
May 15th.
May 15th, and today, showing you what it looked like when it was declared and what it looks like in today's condition.
All right.
So there's no movement on it. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Ms. Scanlon?
It's on.
Is it on?
I checked it before.
First of all, I want to say I love living in Delhi. I've been here 29 years, and I hope to die here. I have no problem about the order to remove the debris. I told Mr. Schill on the phone, nobody wants it gone more than me. I keep my property as best I can. I'm 80 years old. I get out there and cut the grass, trim the bushes, etc. The people responsible for the debris there, first of all, one person who no longer lives in the house, he brought in a bunch of tires. He was a mechanic. He worked on people's cars. He made a general nuisance of himself. Also, my nephew by marriage and my niece, they're a struggling couple, like a lot of people today are struggling financially. He works for Bob Summerall downtown. He's a good mechanic, but he never has enough money. It's just difficult for some people. They started scrapping just things that they could take to the scrapyard and make some money. And they've been doing that for some time. There's an issue with doing that. The scrapyards are open from 9 to 4:30. He works a full day. On his lunch, if they have things to scrap, he takes his lunch period and disposes of those. When he gets home from work, about 6 o'clock, they get in their car. His wife has put an ad in something, I don't know what, that they will pick up scrap. And they go out and pick up scrap. There's a driveway there. They put it behind the fence. Or if he can take it on his lunch break the next day, they leave it in the truck. When this letter came, I was not surprised, but they were very surprised. And the reason is the next door neighbor talks to them all the time. He hangs over the fence. They talk about everything. He's the one who reported it. He knew that they were getting ready to go to Pennsylvania to visit Tony's mom and dad, and they needed money. And they told him, we're not getting enough money from scrapping. We need $600 to go. The reservations have been made. Our neighbor said, you go for it. They said, we're going to start picking up other things. We're going to start cleaning out some houses. There are people that we've scrapped for that want us to do that. So things got back there that should have never been back there. I have told them they've got to stop doing that. This letter came while they were in Pennsylvania, Maryland, visiting his parents. I told them it was here, that we had a week to get that out. They did not get back until Monday night. It was supposed to be out by the 24th. That was impossible. But when I saw that there could be a hearing and that would stay that time frame, I said, well, hopefully we'll have it out by the time of the hearing, but we do not. One of the things I found out is, besides the fact that you can't take your scrap down except during a working day, and that created problems for them, that a lot of these places like Rumpke, where you can take things that you can scrap, they're open from 9 to 4:30. A working man cannot do that. They're open on Saturday from 9 to 12:30. He went, that first Saturday they were back, he paid the $43 you have to pay for a pickup load, and he got rid of some of the stuff. But if you're going to have to pay $43, you're not making any money. There is another place, I've done a lot of research on this, 2121 State, once a month. That's 9 to 1 o'clock or something, 9 to 12. If you're working, you can't take anything there. If I had the money, I would have had somebody come in and get it all out of there. I don't have the money. I'm sure you all know that our houses were appraised. My house appraised $70-some thousand more than last year. Now my mortgage, which includes the escrow, is $200 more a month. We're all struggling. What I'm asking for is more time. We will get the stuff out of there. As I said, nobody wants it out more than me. I love my property. I try to keep it nice. I sit on that side porch. I've done it for years. Even when I was teaching school, I would go out there in the winter with a coat on and look out. I don't go out there anymore. It's disgusting. I need time. We will get it out. That's why I came. I need more time.
What do you want to say?
Mr. Roach, I think we have at times extended time
Yes,
to clean up.
Yes, we do. And
We have that as an
We can work
option.
with that, and that's something Ms. Scanlon and I can talk with tomorrow on timeframes. You also
Okay.
have to, when it comes time for regular community development things, you just have to put the motion whichever fits. But even though, if you would choose to uphold your resolution from the 15th meeting, we can still work with Ms. Scanlon. Now, I'm going to say, we do like to work in weeks increments. We don't want to like working in 30-day, 60-day increments. And as long as we see progress, we will always continue to work with the property owners.
Okay.
Trustees, if I may, the appeal process, it is. Yep, can you hear me?
Yours isn't.
I can hear myself. We good? Okay. All right. The appeal process shouldn't be used as a mechanism for the board to extend time. All right, that's we're getting into minutia here with with time extensions. It's always been an administrative practice, and Tony's department has a very good track record of working with residents. So I would hate to set the precedent and the practice of using this appeal process to create time extensions when it's already handled very well.
My question to Mr. Roach is, we do have, his department does have an option to extend time. So I'm not saying that we're granting this from the board, but I am asking his department specifically if they can extend the time. I'd also like an explanation. You can't be running a business out of your yard either. That's also a violation, just
What?
Run a business.
running a business, running a
They're
scrap.
running a business out of there by scrapping
By
and
scrap.
Okay,
cleaning up.
I'm sorry. I don't hear
That's
very
okay.
That's okay.
That's just a heads up and I
Okay.
don't, do I call that a warning?
That's a good
A
call.
suggestion?
That's a good admonishment.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say.
What shocked us most is the person who lived there previously did run a business. The driveway was lined with cars. There were cars out front. And this neighbor never said a word. Now, I don't know, he's a nice man. He's been very good to me and my family over the years. I don't know, after he talked to them and said, well, you go for it. You'll get that money. You'll get to go see your dad. I don't know. Besides the shock of 7 days to get rid of all that stuff and not having any money, for him, it's never mind.
No, I mean, that's the procedure, that timing. You know, Mr. Roach, I'm going to ask him to go over the timing for all of those because we're having a lot of resolutions and a lot of nuisances in the past meeting and this meeting, so we're going to go over it. So it's standard for everything. And it doesn't matter who turns it in. I mean, you know, whether
No,
it's
I'm
relationship
sure
or not.
It matters to me.
It doesn't, you know, okay.
It was hurtful.
Yeah, but, you know, as you admit, yeah, it is a nuisance. It is a nuisance.
I don't like the fact that it bothers
Absolutely.
you.
I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate to
I'm
see
sorry.
that
It's your
out there.
house. Yeah. Okay. Do you have a comment, Mr. Davis?
So,
I do. Go ahead, Mrs. Scanlon.
please,
Go ahead.
Did you have another comment, or?
no, the person who deals with this, since this, I didn't understand what the purpose of the meeting was. That you did not handle that, as he said.
Well, no, we do, but this is his.
I
choice.
apologize, Ms. Scanlon, if it wasn't explained to you originally, but our department does have the authority to extend deadlines and work with the property owners. And I apologize if it wasn't explained to you properly the first
Okay.
time. But like I said, you know, that's something you and I can speak with tomorrow. I can give you a call and you and I can work on timeframes. Like I said, we like dealing in weeks and 10 days. We don't like 30 days, 60 days, that type of thing. But we typically just deal in like week increments. And as long as we see progress and decent progress, we're always willing to work with our residents.
Okay.
Mr. Roach, on the part of the township, was there one letter given and she had 7 days from that, or had there been multiple, or is this just the one and only that she received?
Yeah, good question, Trustee Davis, and I'll go over this a little bit thoroughly later on in our presentation. But there's a typically that 7-day letter sent out that basically says there's a violation. You have 7 days to bring the property into compliance. And like I said, the trustees meetings, obviously, we know there's the second to last Wednesday of the month. So depending on when they fall, you may have 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the trustees meeting. So you might have 3 weeks to bring the property in compliance. And then once if your board chooses to declare a property a nuisance, there's still another 7 days. So you potentially could have 45 days or so to bring a property into compliance.
Right. Okay. So, Mrs. Scanlon, when you saw the letter, you thought, we'll have an appeal or have more time, which is great because that can be worked out. I'm curious, first of all, Mrs. Scanlon, I feel like you're being a victim in this, and maybe not how you would think that you're being a victim. I'm curious, when you said they were surprised when this letter came, they were surprised. Who's they?
They were surprised.
Yeah, I know who. I want you to say who was surprised, and are they sitting up here now
No.
while you're here on a Wednesday night
No.
covering for them?
I told them they could not come.
Were they ready to come?
Well, he would not have gotten home in time for the.
Okay, so it didn't matter if they
He
wanted to,
gets
they
home
weren't
at
going to
6
be here.
o'clock, so, but, I do want it gone, and I've learned a lot about places that take stuff, and,
I think we're all in agreement. We all want it gone, that is for sure. I'm curious on the second page, and not for you, but maybe Tony, is this a mattress?
Yeah, so that kind of clarifies things for me, Trustee Davis as well. I was under the impression they were just scrapping, but Ms. Scanlon said they're doing cleanouts. So that's what explains, I see cabinetry there, mattresses there. So if they're doing home cleanouts as well, that's probably some of the other debris we're seeing there.
Right.
that's where it's from.
So that clarifies some things for me, because originally I thought it was just scrapping.
And if you can only go to Rumpke on a Saturday because you're working all day, that creates a real hardship.
It's too
But
bad,
that-
because we
well-
just had a clean-out day.
Plus-
All of this could have been brought up for free on Saturday and just dropped off, so.
From 8:15 till.
Till 1 o'clock.
1
Again,
o'clock.
and that's in the past, but on yours, at the very least, they could have it organized, stacked, something that doesn't make it look like the junkyard effect. You follow me?
Well, he covered-
We're more than willing,
He
more
covered it
than,
all up with a tarp as much as he could.
okay, I'm not looking at anything covered with a tarp,
No,
and that's
not
why,
for-
that's why we get to this point.
Not for that picture, no.
And like I said, I think you're kind of a victim to this because you're doing your part, trying to cut the grass, trying to make it look nice, and we go out and get more and just put it here, and then we're surprised that one of the
Well,
neighbors
there-
would say something. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. It just took a long time to get there, maybe.
Here's the thing, nobody can see it. There was one time, just before they went to Pennsylvania and Maryland, when they put it outside the gate. And I took the garbage cans, the three, the composting, or the recycling, and the other two, and put them in front of it, just so it wasn't so obvious.
Well, you're being very generous by allowing them to do this on your property, and now you're taking the heat for it. So,
That's my point.
That's
It's
your
like,
point,
you
right,
know,
Mike?
I would hope next time they would find a way to be here in something like this. You should not be up here. You're trying to follow what is right and what a good neighbor is all about, which is what we've been hammering up here throughout, especially as we go into this season where people are parking up on lawns and the lawns are a foot tall, and we're not going to tolerate it. But someone like yourself comes up with your own time and says, can I just have more time? I wish we had more like you saying, I want to work with you. I want it out. What can I do? So I just want to end my thoughts by saying thank you for being up here. And those others who own this junk should be here right with you.
Well-
And I don't care. Wait a minute. If they have to work, then you take off work and get here. The fact that you had to be here is, I'm sorry, unacceptable, and I hope it doesn't happen again. I hope next time they're the ones begging for more
I hate to say
time.
this, but they're hotheads. They're real, yeah.
What?
and
They're
you don't need that in your life.
And they,
Yep.
Well,
Well, I think, are we not recommending that
that
she
comes later.
meets?
How much more time?
Yeah, so you'll have the motion later on to
Yeah.
choose what you want to do as far as when it comes to community development, the rest of our
But
business.
that's our best plan.
And like I said, I said, before you make your decision, I will be more than happy to speak with Ms. Scanlon tomorrow and just establish some time frames
Right.
okay.
before you
And
make your decision.
just for public record, this is repeating. This isn't the first time. There's been repeat complaints at that property. So,
For debris?
correct,
I
Mr.
don't
Roach?
recall.
I think, I don't know exactly, but there's been some.
I can tell you
Inoperable motor
that
vehicles,
we've-
unpaved
When
parking.
was the parking on the yard? And I'm going to tell you why she parks, my niece, my other one, parked in the yard. Because she'd been threatened, and there's a ramp there, and it was she parked closest to the ramp. She worked nights. She was afraid somebody was going to.
Well,
Mrs. Scanlon, who does your garbage pickup? Who do you,
Best way.
Best Way? And they take mattresses or?
No, I called Best Way to see if I could get rid of some of that stuff reasonable. It used to be Bavarian.
Okay.
You could I put a pool steps out there once, $10. Best Way, one couch, $70.
Okay.
I've done as much research as I possibly could to find a way to get rid of that stuff.
Okay. So Mr. Roach will get in contact with you, or you're going to call Mr. Roach tomorrow?
Okay. All right, are we finished here?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Pacheco, you look like you are wanting to say
I know you're having a decision later,
Yes,
so I'm not going to, you haven't closed the public hearing yet, so.
right.
After you decide that you're going to close the public hearing, that my suggestion would be is that you just reaffirm if you believe that there's been a nuisance, reaffirm that, and then direct Mr. Roach to work
At
with.
that time?
To work with Ms. Scanlon to determine the time
Perfect.
and then if it becomes a problem, then Mr. Roach will bring it back for your attention if that's what
Very
it
good.
requires.
Okay,
All right?
okay. Any further discussion? Okay.
have a hand up.
Got one person.
Yes, sir.
No.
Yes, sir. No. No, not you, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones.
The same issue. We're still having a public hearing on this. Thank you.
My name's Bob Blackston. I live at 585 Rockwell. I'm the neighbor she's referring to, and a lot of the things she's saying are not true. She's enabled this. It's been going on for years. And when the gentleman, McAloo says he's familiar with the case, so I can't say really much about that, but that individual was no longer there. But there were complaints about him doing business in that driveway. And they were turning over cars from the PPP loans from people and trying to flip them and sell them. It was a mess. The complaints were made to the zoning department, and I believe Tony had been by there at one point in time. And this was happened before when Greg and Nathan Burke were there. they were there.
So that's your repeat.
And I never agreed to any of this stuff that she's saying. Oh, I said, go for it. It's my understanding, when you're scrapping, like refrigerators, which they do, you have to have that system evacuated properly from the Freon.
Right, and tagged.
Right.
Yeah. That's part of that. And then they started advertising, they do junk removal. And that's when all this other stuff started coming in. So
Operating a
it
business.
sounds sad, but this has been going on for several years. And every time I've approached her, I used to mow her lawn for her when she worked, and I worked evenings. And I would do her lawn when I did mine. So she's enabled, and the one niece that she's referring to that couldn't be here tonight, she's at their house babysitting the great niece's children that have been dropped off there.
Well, I think she's a victim to a lot of
There's a lot more. Yeah.
junk, which is a nice way to say what's on my mind.
Well,
But she's,
I don't appreciate saying it. I agreed to this stuff, and anytime I've approached her, it's always, well, I don't know about that.
right.
That's always been the statement.
Well, we're on it. We're going to resolve it, right?
Right.
As far as taking more time, that's fine, but when you start hauling tons of, couches.
That's a business.
The neighbor on the other side has complained, they get the rats.
That was my concern, of the mattresses and everything else. It's like,
Fortunately, on my side, I built up 2 feet of river rock for 100 feet on both sides of the fence. That keeps the rats out on my side.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of things, there's a lot of sympathy going on here, but there's also a lot of enabling, and that's the problem, and that's part of the problem that, I don't know if Mac
Other issues,
investigated that part or not, but
other issues going on.
that involves minor children, so I can't say anything. On the 27th of February, at 8 o'clock, I called in. I have a ring alarm in the driveway. I'm the only one on the street that has driveway lights. I thought it was a cat. It was a toddler that got out of her control, her great niece's 2-year-old. So I called the police.
Okay.
Officer Taylor arrived. And they admitted she got out. If she had gotten into the backyard, this little toddler, she was out there at least 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay.
Wandering around, cars flying up and down this short road. So
Okay.
don't
Well,
believe
that-
everything you hear.
Okay, that
And
doesn't have an
You've seen
issue
me
with
here
this.
before,
But okay,
so-
so you're basically saying you didn't say those things, and we appreciate that, and there's a lot going on there. And it's repeat. Okay,
children need to be looked out for.
okay,
There's 5 of them,
Okay.
and one's a handicap.
okay.
So
That's another issue. We appreciate it. Thank you for caring. Thank you.
all the trustees
Yeah.
do a great job. Like Elvis too.
We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience
you
like
pay
to
the
address
bills,
this
isn't it?
issue?
You can go under.
Okay. Motion to close public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, like we said, there'll be action later on. Fire Department, give us an update, please, Chief Campbell.
Got a couple things. Just it is grilling time. So we just recently put out a Facebook post to remind those folks on how to grill safely. The most important thing is to make sure you leave the grill attended. We've had a number of fires in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Just keep in mind, firing them up for the first time in the season, lots of grease accumulates and it can get out of control. If it's too close to the house, to the deck, shed, you name it, it can be a serious problem. So I'd like to keep folks, make sure that they look at what we've put out. It's a lot of good tips on that. The second thing is we are taking applications for our Safe Sitter program during the summer break. So make sure you get those in and you can see those on our webpage.
Okay,
All right. Thank you.
any questions?
Nope.
Okay, great, thank you. We've had a couple runs already for fire grills too, right? About 2 or
Yes.
3 of them, haven't we?
After we put the post
After you
out.
put- I know, I'm like, they didn't read.
Yes. So follow us on Facebook
Yeah,
and get
yeah.
your tips.
Follow
Thank
them,
you.
yeah. Thank you. Okay, Parks and Recreation, Mr. Soupy. Dang it.
We have a motion to grant waiver from park rules regarding hours of use, overnight camping, and open flames in Delhi Park, Floral Paradise Gardens at 5125 Foley Road, to Our Lady of Victory, Boy Scout Pack 909, from 8 a.m. Saturday, June 3rd, 2024, through 5 p.m. Sunday, June 4th, 2024, for their annual parent-son overnight campout and flag retirement ceremony.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Have fun and be safe. All right, updates.
Just a few updates. First of all, we finished up a few big projects we had, the HVAC windows at the senior center. The stage lighting project is coming to completion. Hopefully the grass will grow a little quicker for the next concert, which comes up next, which is next Wednesday, June 5th. So that'll be Forever Diamond. And then we also start our farmers market this Saturday, 9 to 12 at the Clearview Lake, same spots. And that'll happen every week, every Saturday. And the crew's busy with grass fields, ball fields, tournaments, busy time of the year right now. We will be getting, with the concert series going on, we'll be busy for a while. And we are getting ready to do the move to DTS, which is keeping us busy too. So that's about all I have right now. If any other questions.
I'm good.
Great concert.
Yeah.
Great concert. Dan, good on the entertainment? It's all good? And
All
Forever
gone that
Diamond.
rain?
Just rain kind of got us a little bit, but yeah,
And the one next Wednesday's really good too, Forever Diamond. That'll be packed house also.
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
I hear Parks is a proud owner of a new boat.
Yeah, we hijacked the boat from DTS, so that was kind of a stealth mode. I actually called Skylar and let him know. So, yeah, we have a new boat for the lake. So,
Good.
yep.
For the farmer's market, did we put porta potties down there?
Yeah, there's been a porta potty.
Great.
It's been there for a few weeks now. In addition, we did order 2 porta potties for the concerts as well for each one. They pick them up the day before and drop them off, for the concert date. So,
Thank you, Randy.
yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Okay, Police Department, Lieutenant Macaluso. Department updates?
I'd like to echo Chief Campbell's comments about safety. We're coming into summer months. Remind motorists that kids are out, they're on bikes, they're not paying attention when they're running through the cut from one house to another house. So please obey the speed limits. Please watch out for kids. Also, we are still accepting applications for police officers and part-time clerical positions. If anyone is interested, please see our website or apply with us at the station. And as you all know, I'm here because Chief Ron had a procedure and he's resting at home and doing better. I talked to him today.
Great,
Good to hear.
great. Any comments, questions?
I'm good.
All right, well, thank you for
Thank you.
stepping in, doing so well.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
I think it's actually moved to administration. So there is a resolution on later on tonight to dispose of some holsters. That's under administration.
Okay. Public Works, Mr. Ripperger.
We have Resolution 2024-75, imposing parking restrictions on Heather Ridge, directing the placement of signs, posting and publication in accordance with ORC 505.17, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
This is our new subdivision off Cleves Warsaw. If you haven't been up there lately, I believe all the houses are done. The builder was great to work with. Looks real nice up there. And kind of the final step, we've taken it over for a while, but now that the construction is done, we'll put the signs up.
Was there anything that was done on the lighting? Remember we talked about this a while back?
That would be more Tony's department on that. As far as I know, they
Well,
did.
since we said we're kind of ending, I was just thinking about a past request. Okay, we'll come to it.
Okay.
So you've worked with the police department, fire department, whatever, to make sure they're located where they're supposed to be?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Were the residents given an option or to enter into, or we wait until you post them and then they comment?
There's kind of a standard. We really haven't had any problems, but a lot of it just has to do with where the fire hydrants are.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-76, imposing parking restrictions on Clemmy Drive, directing the placement of signs, posting and publication in accordance with ORC 505.17, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Ripperger?
So this is an action to facilitate good traffic flow coming in and out of Delhi Town Square. Delhi Town Square has I won't say secondary, I guess a tertiary egress onto Clemmy. Legal parking on Clemmy can block our drive in and out of there. If something's parked on Clemmy, then it would be very difficult, if not impossible, for a squad or other safety vehicle to get through there. Not to as well as buses, you name it. It's tough for a small car, let alone anything else. It's not necessary to park on Clemmy. The properties on Clemmy have very long driveways, so this is just, again, to facilitate good traffic flow.
Are those residents notified?
We haven't posted it yet until this is approved.
So
Okay.
if there's any concern, we'll work through it.
Okay.
Okay.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes. Department updates?
A couple, not too many. The Duke project on Greenwell, just a reminder, I know traffic's a little bit of a slowdown. It's pretty hectic up there. They should be wrapping that up soon and then moving to the township side roads, which shouldn't affect traffic too much. Let's see, county has kept up on grass. We really haven't gotten any calls this year. Sometimes we get a lot of calls for that. Of course, we got a lot of calls for all the flooding and heavy rains, but no grass calls. And then I made a call today about, they have a larger Hamilton County, like a sidearm mower, a real big one. And it kind of keeps up on sight distance complaints. So they're going to try to make it up here in the next few weeks and do some locations that they normally do. So trying to stay up on top of it before we get the calls.
Anything else?
Any questions?
I just have one small thing.
Oh, no.
Mike, it's never a small thing
Not
with you.
when it's on this topic.
Start the clock.
I saw a video, and maybe some of you saw the video, on something that happened down in the city of Cincinnati on Fairbanks. This video is exactly what it's all about. There's a car coming down Fairbanks, approaching the apartments on their right. They see the speed bump, they hit the brakes. The truck behind them is coming, sees it, and goes up on the lawn of the apartment building, up and over. Now, this is being filmed by a car that's coming home from downtown, filming the whole thing. The car stopped, another one there. He goes up on the grass, and as they're coming around, and if you look right in the video, all of a sudden, two kids come flying across the street. That's the problem. So the next time your city, I don't know her name, whoever it is that you spoke with, feels so proud about these speed bumps, you almost got two kids hit. By the way, you've already got one construction worker hit. We don't know the progress with that. It was not good. And then this accident where a car has to go up. Thank God there wasn't anybody up on that lawn because they're always playing all through there. Thanks for the chaos, the city of Cincinnati, and their wonderful, genius work of putting speed bumps, a stoplight, and of course speed bumps going uphill, which is just absolutely crazy. But anyway, that's in the city of Cincinnati, which is why I love Delhi.
I didn't call my contact on that, figuring that the only thing he would probably come back and say is the walkers did not use the crosswalk, from what I've seen.
Yeah, they
That's just my guess. That's why I didn't call, but
But the truck still had to go up on the hill.
true.
Car went up on the hill because the car slammed on the brakes on the bump that's there. That's the problem. The other thing is, I know he said that the number of auto accidents determined why we needed to do all that down there. The auto accidents happen, and trust me, someone who's been driving that stretch of road for 45 years, because when you come down in the bend and it's raining, your car is going to slide, whether it's snow, ice, or even a little bit of light rain like you had yesterday. There's treatments that you can put on that road. That comes from our own police chief, and I'm sure, Mac, you can attest to that. There's things that you can do instead of spending millions on what they're doing, which must be nice to have that, to do that, to not even try to do that, to treat it. So you affect everyone, our main artery coming in and out of the township, so that you're forcing the residents in Delhi to just go down to Bender or some other way, a point of access, or Henderson Ferry. It's crazy. It really is. And I'm about over the whole discussion. But when I saw that video, I thought, case in point, you almost got 2 kids hit, a lady smashed in the back, and a truck up on the lawn of the apartment building. Great move, City of Cincinnati.
I do have a way to send that video to them, so I can see what they have to say.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
I noticed the ones on Glenway in front of the Cove Dale and all that, it's a speedway now. They had them in, but they took them out.
I brought all that
How did
up.
they get those out on an intersection that desperately needs them on Glenway from Gurley on up to Ferguson? No, because you know why? Because the right people complained. Just like the right people complained down on Lower Fairbanks to get this whole thing started in the first place. A small group speaking for the majority. That's the problem we have.
Yeah, the township was just trying to get it paved is all we pushed for. That was about
Exactly.
5 years ago.
But yeah, 5 years ago we've been trying to get it paved.
Yeah.
We
It's
tried.
just crazy. Folks, wise up. Who you vote for, think
got
about
it,
it,
Dennis.
please.
And Ron, I'm sorry I'm stirring the pot here, but how did that videographer know that that was going to happen? Is it because
The constant
they've seen
dash cam.
multiple?
Dash cam.
Yep,
Constant dash cam picks up everything.
yep.
All right, anything else?
No, I think we're good. Thanks, Ron. All right. Administration, Mr. Miller, you're on.
We have Resolution 2024-77, creating a designated outdoor refreshment area within the Delhi Town Square area and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution, Mr. Miller?
This is the final step in the process for the board to establish the designated outdoor refreshment area at Delhi Town Square. Just for reference on the presentation, you'll see an approximate outline of where the door is going to be. It includes the lawn area at Delhi Town Square, as well as the outlots of Wild Mike's and Dunkin' Donuts. We designed this to avoid as much of the parking lots as possible because we don't want to facilitate drinking in parking lots around vehicles. So,
And all that signage is going up.
all the signage is going up. It'll all be consistent with state law and requirements.
Okay.
Can we have an updated picture of our $70 million project instead of the one from months ago? Because that looks horrible.
This is the latest aerial. I think I'm waiting on an updated picture of the new pavement. I think the biggest thing here is we do have a patio bar in the center, and we do have
Sidewalk?
additional paving.
Right?
It's an Irish
Yep,
pub,
we have a
right?
sidewalk. Yep.
Sidewalk, and you
So
have your...
Turner will supply that, or maybe I know a guy with a drone that can help us out.
That'd be
So,
nice because it really is looking fantastic and people that are seeing it just amazed.
Yeah.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-78, declaring certain police equipment no longer needed for public use and authorizing donation of equipment to the Green Hills Police Department, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
These holsters are no longer of use to Delhi Township. The pistol model that we have is no longer compatible. It would cost essentially as much or more to auction these off through the processing fees and everything. Then it's just not worth our time to try and get anything out of them. We happen to have a local police department that does use this model and would benefit from the use. So
Anybody we know?
as a matter of fact, it is. So our Chief Braun was in contact with our former Chief Howarth, and I think we can afford to help out a neighboring, or at least a regional partner.
That sounds good.
Yep.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of the resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
All right, Mac, tell him to pick them up because we're not paying to deliver. All right,
And we don't want to move them.
come say hi to us.
Yeah. Okay, report, Mr. Miller. Excuse me.
So this may be my last slideshow of pictures from Delhi Town Square, because the next time we meet like this, we will be sitting in the middle of it, and my presentation might be a little redundant. But so bear with me. I made this one a little longer than normal. Yes, it's an outdated aerial. My apologies. But this week is move-in week, so we have fitness equipment being staged. We have our furniture coming in, and starting tomorrow, we will have township staff members moving into the building. We do plan to close our offices on the 3rd, next Monday here. So we will be working, but this building will be closed so that we can get folks over there. Okay. So just real quick, what I'm showing you is the south exterior with our new signage above the doors, or on the canopies. This is just staged right now, showing you our meeting room, set up as if it was for a banquet or maybe even a wedding reception. This is our classrooms with our new tables and chairs. Again, this is staged as if we are setting up for one of our art programs that'll be coming. All right. This is a quick look at the mural from the fitness center. So I've got a couple more pictures of that I'll show you. But the cool thing here is all of our fitness equipment is staged and ready to go. We are opening June 1st, so this Saturday. If you are a member, come on in and put this equipment to good use. Another picture of some of the mural going up right now. It's kind of hard to see from this scale, but this is a 2-story wall. So that little monitor that you see near the bottom of this picture is an 86-inch TV. So that'll put it in perspective for you. All right. And then finally, because everybody's been talking about getting in this pool, our security camera caught somebody diving into the pool. You can see them there going off the end.
Profile looks familiar.
Yeah, we won't name names, but that person thinks that the pool is very cold, so you got to get used to it. So, no, I'm happy to report the diving board works. I took a lap in the pool before I started my work day, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of folks in there. So, that's all I have.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, thank you. Okay, economic development.
So
Update?
I excused Joy from tonight. My apologies, pull up notes real fast. The Cincinnati Business Inquirer did their photo shoot this afternoon in furtherance of an interview that was done last week. So we do have a new story covering Delhi Town Square that should be coming up here in the next week. Let's see here. Sorry, this is what happens when I try and wear too many hats.
Let people off.
There we go. Okay, let's see, we've already done the DORA. The grand opening committee is continuing to work on our grand opening for July 13th. We will be continuing to provide reports on that. Let's see. Joy is working on some options as far as staffing the patio bar right now. So there should be a report forthcoming on, the best way to facilitate opening that bar up. So that is really the only major comment I have for you guys tonight. I do know that we have a grand opening of Wingstop. I believe that's June 3rd at 10:30.
Opening.
Yep. So if you are available for the ribbon cutting, we look forward to seeing you there.
Is it on the 3rd?
I believe it's on the 3rd. I'll double check that. Tony?
Monday the 3rd at 10 o'clock.
Thank you.
I think their soft opening is June the 3rd.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The soft opening is June the 3rd. We will report and post online,
that's not the ribbon
final
cutting?
ribbon
No,
cutting.
no.
Okay, it was my understanding that was the ribbon cutting. My apologies.
Nope.
Okay, other than that, that's all I
good.
have.
All right. Community Development Department. Mr. Roach, good to see you back. All right, we have a motion, and what did we decide to uphold it? Did we decide to uphold it?
Actually, we're upholding the resolution.
Resolution, right.
But we are asking the
Asking
department to
to
take
be-
control of the 2-week extension.
Well, whatever extension they decide.
My understanding, if Mr. Pacheco can chime in, if your board chooses to uphold it, that still gives us our authority to work with the property owner and be able to, if we would need to abate it, if we have to.
Right.
Yes, okay. So now we have a motion.
We have a motion to uphold Resolution 2024-73.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. All right. Okay, next resolution.
We have Resolution 2024-79 declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 4200 Skylark Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution, Mr. Roach?
Yeah, so the good thing is this morning we started out with 17 nuisances. We were able to remove 8 because we received voluntary compliance. So your board's only going to see 9 nuisances tonight with 1 assessment resolution. So all the properties are still in violation that you're going to see tonight. If you have any specific questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
Perfect.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis. Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-80 declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 5196 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution? Nope.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-81 declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 5376 Casual Court, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-82 declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 4977 Duber Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution? Nope.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-83 declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 511 Hibernia Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-84 declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 5301 Gander Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this
I
resolution.
second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-85, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 829 Allenwood Court, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this
I
resolution.
second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-86, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 496 Hibernia Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-87, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 4274 Boyne Court, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of the resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-88, certifying violation abatement expenses at 5196 Delhi Pike, 296 Sebastian Court, 430 Foley Road, 373 Robin Lane, 328 Bob Drive, 5321 Plum Ridge Drive, to the county auditor for assessment, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Roach?
That's just to submit to the county for some expenses that the township's already abated and paid for. Probably not going to make the June tax duplicate, but it'll make the next. So.
And it was a total of about,
About
Close-
$4,000.
Yeah, just shy of $4,000, yeah.
yeah. Okay, yep, that's what I heard. All right.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Mr. Roach, do you realize that half of the resolutions that were on here tonight for nuisances are repeat violators? And in addition to that, 75% of them are occupied. Well, what are they doing out there?
I don't have an answer for that. And when
Wish
people
they
call,
weren't.
when people call and they say, you know, the first thing some people would like to say is they're renters. Well, unfortunately, it happens with owner occupied as well.
Right. So, Mr. Roach, I received a phone call today from a resident who would like to know, well, first of all, I'd like you to tell everybody, what is our process? We go through this every year, and then I have a few questions from the resident regarding repeat offenders. So if you can please go through it step by step, just like you started to with Mrs. Scanlon, and explain that there might be a longer time, and why anything we did the last meeting's not cut yet today.
Sure.
If you would, please.
Absolutely. So, I brief, like you said, Trustee Sturts, I touched on briefly. You know, the process can take anywhere between 45 and 60 days sometimes, depending on how the trustees, we meet twice a month, depending on when the call comes in. So first of all, we receive the call. John goes out, who's our inspector. We try to go face to face and explain the regulations and kind of educate people. If no one's there, leave a card. There's a standard letter that goes out that gives a time frame of a 7-day compliance. In that 7 days, if there's no compliance, then in our system, we move it up to the next trustees meeting, whenever that may fall, and we bring it to your board. Your board reviews it. If you choose to declare it a nuisance, then typically that Friday after the trustees meeting, a certified mailing goes out, and also an order is posted on the door of the property that gives another 7 days. So that 7 days, if we don't get a call or something, if somebody's looking maybe for an extended time period, which we most of the time are willing to do, then the contractor's notified, and that following Monday is when we legally can go to the property and do what we need to do with our contractor. Now, this week, we started out with a day, Monday was a holiday, so we're in a 4-day short week. The contractor has been notified. The good thing is I can report for the trustees is on the May 15th meeting, your board declared 22 properties in the township. We're only going to abate 9 of the 22. The other ones brought in, 13 came into voluntary compliance. 9 still a lot, but it's better than 22. So any property that has not been cut, and we've been taking phone calls and letting people know it's been declared, and their contractor is going to start tomorrow, and hopefully get all, we're going to try to get as many done as we can this week. Hopefully you can get them all 9 done by the close of the business day on Friday.
Okay.
So people, residents they can have up to 45 days to bring a property into compliance before your board even declares it a nuisance.
Okay. So with that being said, the question was, repeat offenders, can we cut corners, not have to go through that first part or any of the parts in order to be able to, start sending them a notice, abate it, do whatever? And now this is Ohio reg. Now this person also believes we can make our own rules.
Yeah, you said it correctly, Trustee Sturts. I mean, that's in the ORC how we follow. And I think Mr. Pacheco at the May 15th meeting said that we are doing things procedurally correct. Now, I would have to refer that question back to Mr. Pacheco if there's any way we can shorten the process for repeat offenders, and I'm not aware of.
You can only shorten the days from 7 to 4 for repeat offenders within 12 months. That's the Ohio Revised Code. I disagree with whatever somebody's telling you that we can change our own nuisance process. That's not a limited home rule township power that we have. So whatever you're being told is incorrect, at least in my understanding of the law. So the only thing you can do is what's in the statute, and the only thing the statute says is within 12 months, repeat offenders, instead of 7 days, get 4 days. But you still have to come back to you, and you still have to do the original nuisance finding anyway. You can't just say, that's a due process issue, and you have to do it, and you have to find it. And so you have to come back and do a resolution every time the grass is in violation. Again, instead of 7 days, you get 4 days.
At the front.
Yes. Well, sorry, 4 days after you declared a violation.
okay.
So again, I've said this at least a handful of times. One of the first things that I took over, I think, January of 19, was I was impressed with how the trustees did their nuisance process. Mr. Lane set up a very comprehensive process, including providing a hearing for Ms. Scanlon tonight, which they're not even required to provide. You're not even required to provide that under Ohio law, but you do. It's part of being due process. But the whole point of these provisions are not to get fees. Let me just reiterate it to folks. We don't need the fee. We would much better spend our time doing other stuff than going around looking at. I'm sure Tony and Skylar have other things, and the board has other things to do than pass 9, 22, however many nuisance resolutions. This is about code compliance. Think about it for a second. If you let grass grow for 45 days at this season, what's it going to look like? That's a nuisance. You don't know what grows in the grass for 45 days. You don't want stuff growing in the grass for 45 days. That becomes a health department issue. So again, this is about code compliance. This is about property values. This is about maintaining the beautiful floral paradise that you have. And again, you have a great process, and the best you can do is accelerate it from 7 to 4 on repeat offenders.
Thank you very much. Okay, any questions from the board?
Is Delhi and Greenwell, did that get cut there in front of the clinic there? That
That is one that the contractor has, Trustee Davis, to hopefully take care of tomorrow or Friday.
okay, was that the one from Delhi Pike on here, or that's a different one?
That was from the May 15th meeting.
Okay.
Your board
Thank
declared.
you.
So it will be taken care of either tomorrow or.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw it on social network. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you.
I'm sorry, Chair Sturts, one more thing. So Mr. Roach gave you a perfect example of that the process is not onerous. It's quite, it's not lenient either, but it's property owner friendly. The first, you say the Greenwell property is going to be mowed tomorrow or Friday. So that was 2 weeks after the resolution determining, which was at least a week after you gave the notice, which was at least a week after. So in that case, you were 30 days to mow the lawn. So again, I'm not picking on any particular property. I'm simply articulating to the trustees, you have a very owner-friendly, code-compliant process. And I think you ought to be, it's a model, and I've used it and parroted it for other townships. Cities have different power under home rule. They can be a little more creative. You unfortunately do not. It's not within your limited home rule power to be any more creative.
And that was quoted too, that Blue Ash
Well, they
acts quicker than we do, and that they were a better model than we were, but they're not a township.
I know they have great legal counsel.
I know, I heard that.
But yeah, they have home rule power that the township doesn't have.
Doesn't have. Thank you very much. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? Anything else?
Madam Chair, if I
Update?
may?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I've been asked, since we are in a voting season, I've been asked to just go over our temporary sign regulations real fast, if I may. So temporary signs cannot be any bigger than 16 square feet. Properties can have 2 temporary signs at one time. They can stay out for 90 days. It has nothing to do when the election date is. It's just 90 consecutive days. Have to be out of the right-of-ways. And how we determine right-of-ways is that green space in between the streets and the sidewalks sometimes. If there's no sidewalk there behind a utility pole, I suggest if you're going to put it on private property, you have that property owner's permission to put it there. Nothing attached to any type of utility pole. So the big thing is the size of 16 square feet is the max.
Ms. Sturts, I would also point out, too, these are not based on content. We're not looking at the content. It's just how the sign is defined, and it's the time. It doesn't matter what you put on the sign. So, we understand and recognize First Amendment parameters. That's, again, the board has to be, the board is in a sticky situation here. People say, I don't like that sign, and then there's also the First Amendment, and we have to comply with the First Amendment. So we're not looking at the content of the signs. We're looking at how they're built. They're defined in our code otherwise, in our resolution otherwise. So I want to be clear about that too.
Which I believe also the Supreme Court ruled on this. When you say about 90 days, you might want to look into that also. As I said, you can put a sign up, as we've seen even here in the township. You can put anything you want on the sign, but even on the 90 days, we say, okay, 90 days out, I can put my sign up now. You can put your sign up anytime you want.
Yeah,
That's from the Supreme Court. That's
Right.
not from Delhi saying it, yes or no. So when you hear someone saying, oh, that's not 90 days, they shouldn't have that up, you're dead wrong. They can put up whenever they want.
that's correct.
But take it down within 90.
And also, if I may, that 90 days, if, we can't, unfortunately, we can't monitor every temporary sign out there. And if we get a complaint about a sign and, the complainant may say it's been there 30 days, we start our time when we observe the sign and we start our clock ticking then.
Right.
Yep.
And even that, why would we waste our time with that? They could say, I did. I took it out last night at 10 o'clock and I put it back in the next day. How are you going to say they didn't? It's like, why would we even waste our resources on that? I mean,
That's a good point. Yeah.
yeah.
Let's not encourage it.
No, not at all. But I don't want to see some legalistic-minded person out there coming before us and say, here's where you're wrong, here's where you err. I don't want that. Supreme Court's ruled on it, so other than that, we'll follow what has been under the First Amendment. Absolutely.
Any more updates?
Unless you have other questions for me, I think I'm good. Unless you have other questions.
Keep up the hard fight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, thank you.
Chair, may I have one more indulgence?
may.
Thank you. I was at the department meeting yesterday at DTS, and I hadn't been there since the groundbreaking, and my jaw dropped when I pulled into there. I mean, what an impressive complex. And Skylar took me through it in the meeting room. It's beautiful. Everything is top notch. And it's actually bigger in there than it looks, which I know makes no sense, but it feels bigger. And so I would like to commend you guys for having the original vision, sticking with it, and then building and having others, but Skylar now take the ball and get it across the goal line with respect to administering the project, and the trustees having the wherewithal and the fortitude and gumption to get it done, and so and the fiscal officer to make sure our belts are appropriately tightened by that. So I want to just commend you all it was just very impressive. I look forward to being out there in 2 weeks for the meeting. It was just very, very impressive.
Thank you for that.
I didn't see my parking spot or my office, but we can work on that later. But no, it's absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Your closet was locked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
about right.
Yeah, when you
thank
say
it was
that, yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you for those
Absolutely
wonderful
beautiful.
comments. We appreciate that. And you're right, when people go through it, they are highly impressed, and that's all I've been hearing is good things about that. And that we even had the conversation, parking, parking, parking. And it's like, Marcia. So a gentleman said, where's parking? I said, drive up there right now. Drive around the back and talk to me later. Saw him today, and I get it now. Okay, so it's like, ladies and gentlemen, come visit, come look at it. If you have questions, we have answers, and I think you are going to just love it and enjoy it as much as we love it.
And come to the party.
And come to the party on July 13th. Can't say that enough. All righty, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now it's, we have public comments, and we have Mr. Robert Jones at 189 Feist Manor here to talk about aerial fireworks. 4th of July must be coming.
I don't know if you remember me from last year.
Last year?
I brought this up, and it was a preliminary, some information I provided you. And I think Ms. Seavey had asked whether him or somebody, whether other locations had banned
Regulations.
fireworks. And he said in the 6 areas that he was dealing, the answer was no. But then subsequent to that, I sent out a list of all the, or the list that I found on the internet. And it had, as I mentioned in my write-up, it had every major and middle of the ground city in Ohio have banned fireworks. And I think it's because aerial fireworks are made or set for areas where they have enough room to fire it off so that they're not endangering other people, their property, whatever. And I had quoted or sent to you last year the section that talked about when you shoot off the fireworks, aerial fireworks, you have to be 150-foot radius around you, and there can be no structure, house, garage, whatever, in that area. And then, realistically, in Delhi, percentage-wise, not very many properties qualify for that. I see it when I jog, and they're firing off the fireworks. Their yards, they're like 40 feet away from their aerial fireworks. And so that's why I said, I know that you can't do anything, or, that you need time to discuss this situation. But I did want to put it on your agenda for this year to look at it, to see if we should ban aerial fireworks for Delhi. Now, the reason I'm a little passionate about this thing is, first of all, aerial fireworks have become very dangerous. It used to be that people were satisfied with Roman candles and little bottle rockets, but now they're shooting off 2- and 3-inch mortar shells, and they are powerful. And as an example of that people would remember, or maybe, is that in 2021, the NHL goalie for the Columbus Blue Jackets was up at a party in Michigan, and he was just in a hot tub, and they were firing off a 9-round mortar, 2-inch mortar shell. And after the 7th shell, the device tilted and fired one in that direction, and the 9th one hit him right in the chest and killed him. That's a 2-inch. You're allowed to have 3-inch in Ohio, 3-inch mortar shells. They are extremely powerful. So, I have a situation that we're dealing with dangerous fireworks that are being set off in a very confined areas. The second problem I have is these mortar shells are very loud, extremely loud. They're exploding at a low level. They're not like the commercial where fireworks, where they're shooting pretty high up. They're extremely loud, and they're annoying for the people that aren't into fireworks, and they scare the heck out of the pets. And so one person shooting it's not like it's my neighbor down the street that's shooting it off. It's somebody that's shooting a half a mile or a mile away from me. So that one person who's enjoying the shooting off mortar shells is affecting a lot of people, because you can hear it. And, I wanted to bring this up before the 4th of July so you can think about this. When you observe, look at them. Do they have a 300-foot clear area when they're shooting this off? You'll see they're not. They're doing stuff like on certain streets. I've seen them shooting it off in the street, like near apartment complexes. So in that case, they're loud, they're destructive, and a lot of the users, well, some users, are not adhering to the hours that are set up. There's a number of days that the Ohio set up and that you could adopt in hours, where they're shooting them off at midnight, 12:30. I've got golden retrievers, they're scared to go out to go to the bathroom, because as soon as you think it's safe, there's someone shoot it off, and you can't report them because it could be, a quarter of a mile, half a mile away from where you are. For some reason, the ones that want the big fireworks don't show responsibility. And it never bothered some of them. Before the fireworks were allowed, they were shooting them off anyway. They didn't care. But what has happened is that with this allowing it now, is they're shooting even bigger ones and more often, and more people are doing it. And it's become, a nuisance. I'm realistic in saying that if you ban aerial fireworks, that they're going to stop, because you don't have the personnel to do it. But I don't want to condone it. I want Delhi to be like that whole list that I sent you. And I would also ask you to look at, I'm not a lawyer, but I would ask about the liability to Delhi. If you continue to allow aerial fireworks, and there is a serious situation that's like that goalie that got killed, there's going to be lawsuits, and they go after the deepest pockets.
Okay.
Now, I don't know. I know that governments have certain immunity to this, but if it's proved that the properties in Delhi really are not set to do this, and you continue to do it, I don't know. Could you be sued for that?
Okay. We have a 5-minute limit, and I'm sorry you've reached that 5
So anyway,
minute.
those
but,
are the things. So
but
my expectations are, I know we're not going to stop it, but I just want you to review it and look at it.
okay.
Thank
The
you.
only thing that we can say is when they were illegal, they were still going on. When Ohio approved them, they're still going on. So
But
we don't
the
have the
greater
manpower to go. We'll discuss it then.
Right,
But,
right.
we
But I-
appreciate you coming every year.
Anyway, that's what it is.
Okay,
Thank you.
appreciate it, thank you. All right, we have nobody else signed in for public comment, so how about announcement of communities, Mr. Miller?
I'd be happy to. All right. Kids, Cops, and Firefighters Queen of Hearts fundraiser every Friday night at Jim and Jack's on the River. A Queen of Hearts raffle is a fundraising raffle where participants buy tickets for a chance to win a cash prize. It's a 50-50 raffle, but with an added fun twist. It involves a deck of cards turned upside down and numbered 1 through 54. People purchase tickets and assign a number, 1 through 52, to each ticket. Next drawing is this Friday at 8 p.m. The pot will be in excess of $10,000. You do not have to be there to win. You can buy tickets at Jim and Jack's whenever they are open. You win the same amount of money whether you are there or not, and when the ticket is drawn. Help us support our less fortunate kids in Delhi. Buy some Queen of Hearts tickets. Free Friday fishing at Clearview Lake is going on now through September 28th, starting at 7 a.m. and going until dusk. Fishing is limited to designated areas only. This program is limited to Delhi residents only, and it is a cash and release program only. The Delhi Farmers Market begins Saturday, June 1st, runs from 9 until noon. This will be every Saturday, correct, Randy? All right, good. All right. This is at Delhi Park at Clearview Lake. Vendors include for this first one, Lobenstein's Farm, Morend Homestead, Plantasia Eggs, Floral Paradise Gardens Volunteers, After School Crafts, Mama's Garden, Swee and Susie, Trinkets by Angela, Stitches by Teresa, Moses Masons, Mama Wolf Boutique, Nanny Goat's Gruff, Renewal by Anderson, The Hippie Unicorn, Jay's Plants and Produce, J&J Rose Production, Lucy B. and Me, Threads and Breads, Delhi Veterans Association, CC3D, TT Jams, Suds and Stuff, Little Rose Hair, Healing Herbal Teas, Crochet Creations by Patty, Delha Rosa, Bees and Textiles, Westside Woodworks. Is it Macrame Magic?
Macrame.
Macrame Magic. All right,
the
pardon me.
60s, are you?
No, Macrame Magic. Oh, is that the like the I almost want to say
String.
dream catcher type
Yeah.
thing? Okay. All right. Sorry. All right. Macrame Magic. Honey's It says Honey's Back Goods, but I'm going to assume it's Honey's
Probably
Baked
Baked
Goods.
Goods,
Delhi Athletic Club, and finally Colorful Gremlin.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a tongue twister. All right. Moving on. All right. Delhi Parks and Recreation, in cooperation with St. Dominic Athletic Association, Riverview, Delhi Hills, Kiwanis, Delhi Skyline Chili, Duber's Carryout, James J. Luby, CPA, Delhi Business Association, Kruger Law, Chandler's Burger Bistro, Jake's Automotive, Delhi Whodunit, Hand in Hand Realty presents Forever Diamond, Wednesday, June 5th at 7 p.m. This is at the Delhi Park Performance Pavilion. No coolers are permitted, and food and beverages available for purchase. Let's see. And finally, Delhi Parks and Recreation and JC Boutique Community Craft Night. This is Thursday, June 20th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Delhi Park Lodge. Choose from 6 door hanger designs. Call the Parks and Recreation Department for more details.
Is that registration only?
Let's see. Yeah.
They have to pre-register.
Online registration, $40.
And you register online at www.giftsbyjc.com/events.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice addition. Thank you. Okay, so we do have a need to go to executive session tonight, but before we do that, like we've been saying, this is our last meeting in this building. We've been meeting here since 1992, so a lot of trustees and administrators and law directors and department heads have come through this building at all these meetings. So this old girl has served us well. So we look forward to our next meeting in our new building. And all I can say is, last one out, turn out the lights. Do you have anything to say, Trustee Seavey?
I looked at that dedication plaque today and thought, wow. And I left Mr. Miller a treat on his desk, because as I cleaned out my office, I found a Delhi Business Corridor Task Force report from 1996.
Nice.
And I thought, wow, how far we have come and what we have built. And I just, you're right. It's a sad moment to say goodbye to this building, but hallelujah, I can't wait to be on Delhi Pike. And I can't wait to share that building with all of our residents.
Trustee Davis?
Yeah, that's about it. It's been an honor since day one for me as trustee for 16 years and everything. And you think of who has passed these doors and all that time and since 92 and beyond. And it's just good days. You know, it is tough. Even with the Delhi Town Square, you know, I think most everyone in the township gets it. It's about keeping Delhi moving forward, and that's why we invested into the township. And it protects, I think, all of us. It makes Delhi exciting, keeps us relevant, and it is going to be exciting to be up there. And I'm glad Trustee Seavey said that. This is a township thing. You know, it's not just us. Yeah, we're the electeds, whatever, but we represent you. And it's been an honor and a joy to be here. I'm thrilled for our police. I hope that transitions well. For you guys have been in that same building since 1970. What? How long have you guys had that other building?
Well, I've been there since 1994. It's been there.
You've been there.
I know that prior to that, they dedicated it in 92, and I think prior to that was the 70s.
And in the 70s, and that was back when you had how many? Maybe
14. I looked that up.
Yeah,
14 officers, and there were no girls.
Yeah, now you have 32 plus size employees, so hopefully we can use this. But again, Delhi's blessed, we've been blessed, and we're looking forward to the next blessing, and we hope everyone gets there July 13th. And of course, the next meetings here in June will be great, and it's been good. It's been good.
Mr. Libby?
Learned a lot in this building, that's for sure. And it's had a great run. So I am thrilled to death to move up to Delhi Pike. I'm not thrilled about the drive. It's a lot longer drive than I have here,
Wah, wah.
but that's okay. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, very good, thank you.
Where'd the board meet before this building?
Next door. Next
It
door.
was, okay.
Police Department.
All right,
In your office.
interesting, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
I can remember it being an attempt for the administration where we were on the one side of the building and the police were on the other side.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. So come a long way, baby. All right, so we do have a motion to retire to executive session, please.
Motion to retire to executive session to consider confidential information related to the marketing plans, specific business strategy, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you for being with us here in our last meeting. Our next meeting, as we said, is June 12th at 6 p.m. in our new digs up on Delhi Pike. Bless you all.